is that the money is flowing from the one gambling and gaming arena to another, and I'm talking about BSC because that stock is flying higher in the trading session today. Your call as far as Delta Corp is concerned, which is obviously taken a 20% knock, and then BSC, which is up a good 10%.
Yes, Anisha, even I have read that. But I think on Delta Corp, it's a classical, a stock which has proven time and again that you try and take a bet on the stock on a trending basis, and the stock disappoints clearly. We've seen that happening for Delta Corp in 2022 when the stock was going through some bit of recovery in the first half, first couple of months of 2022, and then came a very sharp, very swift correction for the stock. I think it fell down to as much as 160, 165 levels. From there, it took almost 5-6 months for the stock to recover and to come back towards 200 levels. In the last 1 or 2, I think 2 weeks specifically, the stock was trying to claw back again. But then whenever the stock has or the tendency of the stock to come back into the F&O band, we've seen that playing as a negative effect for the stock price. Add to that the negative news flow which has happened for Delta Corp. So again, a stock which I would clearly avoid in every kind of circumstances, whether you are looking to buy on momentum or on dips. On the other hand, I think BAC could be a classical case where the stock has actually run up, I think 90-95% in the last 3 or 4 months. From the March close of 405, 406, the stock is almost at 770, 760 levels, which means that the run up for BAC is also exceedingly high. And I would probably expect the stock to get into some bit of profit booking. So no positions to be initiated on Delta Corp, at least that's what I would recommend. And for BAC, good time to take out profits.
Okay, so that's a take coming in as far as BSC and Delta Corp is concerned. Separately, what else is happening in the market in terms of the big movers today? It continues to be Mazgaon Dock, which is higher by 8%. Mankind Pharma is having a great day. JB Chemicals is something that we flagged off. And some of the other defense names like MTAR Technologies, etc. as well. Sudip, what's your take regarding the entire defense pack? Is there any name that still looks attractive despite the run-up?
Good afternoon, Anisha. I think defense has been an excellent area, has given investors great return over the last 1.5 years. But looking at the valuations at which some of these stocks are currently trading, I would be definitely advise caution and tell investors not to get in at these levels. If somebody is holding on to a Mazgaon Dock or BEL or HAL, maybe they can wait and keep watching before rushing to book profits or sell their stock. But fresh position, fresh entry at these levels is dicey. Couple of reasons, I think. One, while these companies are doing all the right things, getting loads of orders, one has to remember that the valuation at which they are already there factors in pretty much everything which they have got till now, and also something more. So it will be a long time before these orders get executed and profits flows in. Also, a lot of time between the expectation of a multiple re-rating again and again may not get actualized once again. So it is better to be cautious. If somebody has to play defense, I would probably look at a stock like a Bharat Forge, which predominantly is a forging company. There is traction in that business as well, including Class 8 trucks in US. But they have a very well developed defense as well as aeronautics business. And that is where there's a lot of traction. So maybe one can try and play this through the Bharat Forge stock, and that can be bought at current levels.
Okay, so Bharat Forge is one stock that could be bought at current levels. But Nooresh, your own sense, and as far as the market texture is concerned, we're seeing a bit of a bounce back in the PSU banking names while cement is down and out.
So overall, if we look at the space, the Nifty has not made a new all-time high, but today we are seeing small cap and mid cap indices making all-time highs. So there is a little bit of a pause in places where there has been a rally. So out here, PSU banks made a strong move over the last few sessions. And say a Bank of Baroda moved up from 190 to 210. A little bit of a pause, but the trend is still positive for the whole sector. The interesting one could be going forward if State Bank of India can sustain about 600 levels. That's a resistance. If it can sustain 600, then it can go towards 625, 630, which is the previous all-time high. So PSU banks still promising. SBI could be interesting if it sustains above 600. Cements overall, the problem is the trends are not strong. It's been a slow and steady run up even for the largest name like Ultratech. It has made very nominal daily moves, but it has slowly and steadily gone up from 7,600 to 8,500. So the trend is positive, but the momentum is not great. So avoiding the cement space as such, the mid cap and the small cap cements could be interesting. Birla Corp, etc. are trending, but the large cap does not look that exciting.
Right. Okay, just looking at a couple of other buzzers, look at Piramal Enterprises. That stock is holding up about almost 4% as we speak right now. There's an upgrade coming in on Piramal Pharma as well, wherein Nuvama has now initiated coverage. They put a price target of 130 on Piramal Pharma. That stock will just come up for you on your screens next. They expect a strong recovery in their overall business in the subsequent years to come. And that 1,050 crore rupee rights issue and better cash flows, they're saying are going to de-stress the balance sheet as well. Remember, about a quarter back when the company did report its earnings, there were a lot of concerns raised around what is the longevity of the business and the growth from thereof. And you did see a fair amount of crack as well come by on the stock price. But Kunal, just very quickly, both on Piramal Enterprises, and I don't know if you track the charts of Piramal Pharma at all.
Well, I do track Piramal Enterprises. So I think that's a stock which looks very attractive to me on the charts. Aisha, and I think the stock has now formed a classic pennant formation on the daily time frame. So I think at 965, 970, where the stock is trading right now, it looks fairly attractive for a potential target of at least another 10% over the very near term. So I would be very bullish on Piramal Enterprises. Now, Piramal Pharma, the history is of course a bit restricted, because of which only the recent trends for Piramal Pharma have been looking attractive. So from the point of 70-75, when the stock formed a low, to now 1994 plus levels, where the stock is trading right now, I think this has been a decent recovery for Piramal Pharma, a more stable recovery. But because of the paucity of chart patterns or the price patterns for the stock, I would probably expect that maybe over the near term we can expect 100, 105. Would be difficult to forecast it from long-term play.
That's a trade coming in as far as Piramal Pharma is concerned. But the other name from the entire pack, which is quite active, is Mankind Pharma. Let's do one thing. Let's slip into a very short break. But as we do that, listen in to the bite coming in from Dipan Mehta.
Hasn't really moved at all in the last few odd minutes or so. Absolutely flat for the Nifty. Continued to circle around that 19,500 print for the Nifty futures. Sectorally, of course, while there is no meaningful mover, but yes, real estate is the one which is cracking hard. So if I just look at the constituents right now and just going to bring them up on your screens, you are seeing some bit of pressure on the Nifty Realty constituents, which also, by the way, has now recovered from the session lows, at least from the first half hour or first hour of trading or so. Other stocks under pressure, of course, Ultratech Cement, there's Tata Motors, Maruti, Bajaj Auto. But again, these are not any meaningful cuts. Less than 1% is, something that you can completely ignore. Infosys, IndusInd Bank, Unilever, Hero MotoCorp, Divi's Labs, Tata Steel, HDFC Bank, L&T. Just at best, we're only dragging our feet. Pidilite, that's the other one that I just want to bring up for you on your screens. And that stock has been under pressure. There's been a downgrade by Citi to now a sell from the earlier buy. They've cut the target price also from 28.80 to now 22.20. They're saying that the current valuations are factoring in the margin expansion benefit, and they do not see any meaningful upside come by for Pidilite. But Sudip, for a stock like Pidilite, which has been a multi-bagger for those who got in at the right time, do you think if indeed a decline sustains, although it hasn't even today, that should be a good buying point perhaps?
Absolutely, Aisha. It's a fantastic stock. It's a fantastic company with the kind of products, unmatchable products. The only challenge is the valuation. I think even the report of the the brokerage you mentioned does talk about the valuation and the discomfort at the kind of multiples at which it is trading vis-a-vis the projections even which the company has given and the margin expansion which they plan. Even if you bake in everything, I think the valuation does look a little rich, and that's where the challenge is. So while it's a great company and it's definitely a worthwhile buying if there is some meaningful correction at some stage, the current level going aggressive and buying into this stock may not be advisable because the margin of error is very, very limited.
Okay, so the margin of error is limited there, but do you think the margin of error is limited for the IT counters as well after the kind of drubbing that they've seen already, and it's more likely that they'll head higher rather than lower?
Anisha, I completely agree with that logic. In fact, I've been telling my investors that it is definitely a good time to look at IT companies. I mean, there is no need to rush in and put all your money in IT now, but of course, it's a good time to start nibbling into it. We can keep debating whether this quarter will be the worst or the next quarter will be even bad, but it's a matter of time before they regain their momentum. Our gut feel is, and our reading is that third quarter onwards, things should start coming back on track. I won't be surprised if some of the companies start getting back on track from second quarter of current fiscal itself. And probably, we have factored in all the bad news for most of the counters, and script like HCL Tech, the shares like even TCS, Infosys. There is absolutely no harm in starting to accumulate at these levels, which definitely seem attractive for an investor who has at least 1 year plus time horizon.
Couple of other stocks which are in focus, and Titan, this is the second downgrade, by the way, coming in on Titan. Last evening, it's now been downgraded to a neutral from a buy. The target price, although, has been held at least by Citi at about 32.80. But even after the quarterly updates, them being strong, there was another brokerage, I think JP Morgan or so, which did mention that Titan valuations are looking pretty ripe and that there would be limited upside. Similar is the reasoning from Citi as well. They're saying in the consumer space, they actually like a lot of other names, but yeah, they're saying Page, Titan, along with Pidilite, like I earlier flagged off, are their top sell recommendations. But similar a thing really, Sudip, when it comes to Titan as well. A meaningful correction, if at all it comes by, does that become a good buying opportunity?
Well, I don't agree fully, Aisha, with the report on Titan. In fact, these are some stocks which are, or companies rather, which are doing pretty much everything right. If you look at the Titan update, the business update, which came in a few days back, for a minute, leave aside the jewelry, where also there has been a fantastic growth. There was marriage season, there was Akshaya Tritiya, so it was kind of expected as far as the quarter gone by. But the other peripheral businesses, including the ethnic wear, Taneria, they have also clocked fantastic growth. The eyewear business has picked up. The watches segment has started doing pretty well. So it's firing on all engines. And I don't see, just because the second quarter doesn't have a marriage season, or there are no major festivals and all that, just to say because of that we will see a the slowdown in growth of Titan. I don't agree with that logic. I think this is the most recognizable brand and trusted brand in the gold jewelry segment, undoubtedly. And with the propensity of Indians to buy gold, it is not going away. So overall, I think Titan will continue to reward investors. The question is whether you buy today or you wait for some correction and then buy. I think for a long-term investor, waiting for a correction and remaining in the sidelines for these kind of counters doesn't make sense. So my suggestion to investors in Titan, if you want to get in your portfolio, just go and buy. Don't buy everything today. Buy slowly, but do buy. If you are talking about the entire jewelry segment, I will also like to talk about Kalyan Jeweler. I think that they are also showing all signs of an upward movement. So that is another stock in this entire jewelry space, which definitely should be looked at.
That's about Titan, but it's last 30 minutes of the trading session. And remember, it's the last 30 minutes for trading for HDFC Limited, because come tomorrow, it'll be merged with HDFC Bank and there'll be no script called HDFC Limited. So last 30 minutes as far as that merger impact is going to be. Remember, with respect to the weightage of HDFC Bank on the Bank Nifty, the combined weight of the entity is going to be almost 27% thereabouts. And we're expecting that there could be flows to the tune of around $70 million with respect to that particular entity. We're expecting that there could be some outflows from the likes of ICICI Bank, etc. on account of the weighted changes. So that will be important to track. Let's keep an eye out as far as the next 30 minutes is concerned. Also watch out for LTI Mindtree because that's the new kid on the block as far as Nifty 50 is concerned. So that will get added to Nifty 50 tomorrow. And again, Street was expecting that there could be some flow management as far as that stock is concerned. JSW Steel becomes part of Sensex. So on account of that, there was a net inflow of around $120 million expected on that one. All of this will come into fruition in the last 30 minutes of the trading session today as well. So just flagging out that you need to have all of these counters on your radar. Kunal, your word as far as this entire adjustment is concerned, and also any closing trades that you are recommending?
So yeah, I think in fact, the reason why HDFC Limited and HDFC Bank was actually seeing some selling pressure over the last 5 or 6 days was on the back of this news this event, which is much talked about for the markets. But I believe post the merger of sorts and post this event getting completed, I would probably expect HDFC Bank to get back into the line of outperformance, or at least get back into the line with respect to market performance, because HDFC Bank has been a major drag for the entire banking index, and I think one of the major reasons why the bank Nifty has significantly underperformed in the last 7, 8 trading sessions. So I believe at least that could probably now start to even out for the banking index, and we may expect some bit of recovery for HDFC Bank. In terms of closing trade, L&T is a stock which looks attractive. In fact, the stock now at 24 70 60 mark looks fairly poised for a breakout back again on the upside. So would be looking to suggest a buy on L&T.
You, what's the closing trade, and if you have any thoughts around the entire readjustment that we're expecting, LTI Mindtree, JSW Steel, HDFC Twins?
So overall, expecting HDFC Bank to start making a reversal from tomorrow. Closer to 1600, 1640 is an accumulation zone for the stock, and eventually the stock could go back to 1750 levels. So positive on HDFC Bank, the dip should be an opportunity. Maybe it ends up lower today and say at open tomorrow. Positive on that one. Overall, on the markets, index, the big difference could come from HDFC Bank, so that would be on watch from tomorrow. The stock I would like to keep on adding is Ashok Leyland. That's a stock getting closer to new 52-week highs and all-time highs. Made an attempt towards 170.72 today. Good indications of a possible breakout going forward. So expecting this to break out.
Sudip, we'll let you go on that note. Great to have you on the show as always. We'll take a very quick break with news that we're still absolutely flat. The broader market and stock-specific news action is what we're seeing in the market this afternoon.